Baha sa kalibugan, lunok sa kasaypanan, huwaw sa katinaw, nihit sa kahulugan. SibyaTV, masaligan, madangpang, malauman, kamatuuran, masabtan. SibyaTV. Baha sa kalibugan, lunok sa kasaypanan, huwaw sa katinaw, nihit sa kahulugan. SibyaTV, masaligan, madangpang, malauman, kamatuuran, masabtan. SibyaTV.
Mayong hapon mga kasibya, welcome sa itong special coverage sa SONA 2021, ang katapusang SONA ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. O karon ato makita ang kining pag-abot sa pipila ka mga choppers nga niabot sa batasang pambansa. O gituhuan nga sakay niini si Presidente Rodrigo Duterte, o karon atong nakita si Senador Bongo nga nanaog sa maong nga chopper, usa sa mga chopper o nga gipaabot ron ang pagnaog ni Presidente Rodrigo Duterte. Karon ato na nakita mga kasibya ang pag-abot ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa batasang pambansa gamit ang kining or sakay ang usa ka presidential chopper nga naay presidential seal mga kasibya. Kininyo kasibya Roy Racaza mohatod kininyo sa mga labas nga panghitabo atol sa katapusang SONA ni Presidente Rodrigo Duterte. Ato makita si Presidente Duterte nga giagak nga panaog sa mubo nga hagdanan gikan sa helipad sa batasang pambansa. Unya kung ato makita ron mga kasibya ang kining iyahang gisulob usa ka office barong, dili kini naandan nga barong Tagalog, no, nga iyang gisulob sa iyahang lima ka SONA na nahitabo. Kini iyang iyang gisulob ron kung atong makita ang iyahang gisulob kay usa ka office barong mga kasibya. Live feed gikan sa RTVM Malacañang. Karon isud na si Presidente Duterte sa sud sa building no sa Batasang Pambansa mga kasigya. So once again, kininyo yung kasibya Roy Racaza mohatod kaninyo sa latest nga mga panghitabo sa Batasang Pambansa o karon isud na. So sa kakwarto o si Presidente Duterte ug ato makita ang kining Senate President o ang kasamtangan nga Senate President Vicente Soto III o Tito Soto ug si House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco sa ilahang ceremonial nga pagkikong sa presidente kay mao pod ni mga kasibya ang nagbukas sa joint session sa Kongreso sa Upper House ang Senado ug sa Lower House sa House of Representatives. Actually kini ang nakita ron sa katapusang SONA wa ni mahitabo sa nilabay nga tuig 2020 no 2020 wa ni nakita tungod sa hugot nga mga protocols nga gipatuman ni adtong tuiga mga kasibya kay mahinumduman nga pag-abot ni Presidente Duterte sa Batasang Pambansa no ning kuan naman siya ning diretso na siya sa iyang rostrum or podium wa na siya mong kining agi pa no sa kining mapakigpong sa mga leader sa duha ka sangay sa gobyerno lehislatibo sa Kongreso, ang Senado o ang House of Representatives. Karon nagsige pag-play or nagsige tugtog ni live music orchestra alang sa katapusang SONA ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Kamo nagtanaw sa SibyaTV sa Facebook, sa YouTube, atong feed mga kasibya gikan sa RTVM Manila. Nga mo'y gitahasan sa opisyal nga coverage sa SONA 2021. O karon limitado ang mga gipasod ron sa Batasang Pambansa tungod sa protocol nga gipatuman. Actually ang atong gi-expect no ang abot nato 400 ra daw kabuok nga mga kongresista in total ha ang kongresista, cabinet secretaries ug uban pa nga mga imbitado, pili nga imbitado nga mga bisita ang tugutan nga musod sa Batasang Pambansa atol sa ika-unom o katapusan nga SONA ni Presidente Rodrigo Duterte. Ang Vice Presidente nga si Leni Robredo giimbitar no nga physical nga makaadto kay matud pa kinahanglan nga mga fully vaccinated na ang mga mungsod sa Batasang Pambansa atol sa ika-unom nga SONA ni Presidente Duterte. Unya si Vice President Leni Robredo nga dili makatambong, no? Kuwan pa siya, partially vaccinated, di pa siya fully vaccinated mga kasibya. Makatambong siya dili physical kundi online, kaya doon na say online audience nga gipahigayon or nahitabo ron sa gipang sendan o kining imbitasyon nga maapil sa official Zoom or online presence or online audience, official nga online audience sa State of the Nation Address 2021. So atong giatangan ron dili madugay nga ang paghatag ni Presidente Duterte sa iyang ikaunom nga sona. Kung atong balikan mga kasibya, ang kining iyang sona nga iyang nahatag sa nilabay nga tuig 2020 ning sentro ni sa pipila ka mga aksyon sa COVID-19. Ingon man ang iyang pagtira sa mga oligarchs mga kasibya, apila ni ana ang mga Lopez nga mo'y tag-iya sa ABS-CBN nga atong gialagaran kaniadto sa wa pa ni ang SibyaTV. Kung ano na may mga komento unsa ba ang inyong gusto madunggan sa ikaunom nga sona ni Presidente Duterte, mamahimo ninyong i-comment sa atong comment section o makita na sa atong screen. O niya karon nagpadayon ang pakigpong ni Presidente Duterte o ni House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco o ni Senate President Vicente Soto III. Mao ni wa nahitabo last year. Ya karon no ang atong naandan nga puno nga session hall sa Batasang Pambansa usa na ron ka socially distant crowd sa atong makita sa inyong mga TV screens or sa inyong mga cellphones, sa mga smart TV, no, nga inyong makita sa pagkakaron mga kasibya. 3:50 na o kamo nagtanaw sa SibyaTV special coverage sa katapusan na sona. Kini si Roy Racaza muubad kaninyo para sa ikaunom o katapusang sona ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. O karon ato nakita nga humana ang ilang pagkikpong sa duha ka leader sa duha kasangay sa Kongreso mga kasibya. Karon nagbarog na lang sila sa mao nga kwarto og magpahulagway. Kauban ni Senador Tito Soto ang long time na nga aide ni Presidente Duterte nga karon senador na pod Christopher Bongo. Sa mga nagkuan sila fist sign niya oragwa pay kisa unis politika mga kasibya kay ning deklarar na ni si Senador Tito Soto nga mudagan isip Vice Presidente Pero dili siya anti-Duterte kuno og di sad siya pro-Duterte. Sa gid kanhi plano ni Senador Tito Soto og karon ni ana ang dako nga session hall sa Batasang Pambansa. Sa pag-usap mao kini ang unang sesyon sa joint session sa Kongreso. Kunin kagini ng buntag naghimo na pod or nahitabo ang usa ka sesyon sa Senado kundi ang mga 13 to kabuok mga kasibya ang na dito physical nga ning tambong o siyam ang ning tambong online. Karon ato lang gipaabot ang pagsulod ni Presidente Rodrigo Duterte ang atong nasayran mga kasibya ha nga ang mong awit sa nasudnon natong awit usa ka Sugboanon nga si Morissette Amon no nga proud Cebuana gini siya mga kasibya atong tanawon og siya bagyod pero base sa ato ang mga Angry Bird matud pa sa termino ni June Perez si Morissette Amon ang moimong kanta sa nasudnong awit. Ato makita ang pipila ka mga miyembro sa Diplomatic Corps o niya ang mga kongresista nato no nga naa sa session hall makita nato nga nag face mask o nag face shield murag klaro gyud kay mga kasibya nga mauna ang gihimong requirement sa mao nga State of the Nation address. Makasud mo pero antos mo niya face mask o face shield ha. Pero sa atong tanaw, kuan na ha, nana sa taas ang duha ka leader sa Kongreso. So, atong huwaton ang pagsulod ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Makita Secretary Harry Roque ang tigpamaba sa presidente nga naglingkod murag siya na say maminaw ron mga kasibya di sama sa atong madunggan kada adlaw sa iyang public briefing na siya mismo ang mangunay karon audience si Secretary Harry Roque. Audience mode saka Secretary. Former PNP chief karon Senador Bato de la Rosa, yahayag Senador Bato de la Rosa nalitambong sa ni physical sa sesyon sa Senado kaganinang buntag. Senador Bong Revilla o Senador Amy Marcos ini makita sa inyong mga TV screens or sa inyong mga cellphones ang pipila ka mga senador na present sa session hall sa Batasang Pambansa. Nahimo gid gihapon fashion show mga kasibya ang sona bisakin sa pay presidente sa nilabay nga mga tuig ug sa nilabay nga mga presidente mahimo gid fashion show ang kining State of the Nation address kundi mabida ang pipila ka mga designer nga ninghimo og mga gown Pilipiniana, barong para sa pipila ka mga kongresista o sa mga bana o sa mga asawa nila no nga ma-showcase gyud no daghan ni bash no nga nganong himuon man na ninyo nga fashion show ang mao nga State of the Nation address nga di man na mo'y purpose niya na pero nasa uban mga kasibya nga nalipay kay na showcase ang talento sa Pilipino sa pag-design og mga sanina. So natin lain-lain nga mga pagtan-aw nganong na ay murag fashion show. Bisan pa man og limitado lamang ang nakasulod ron sa Batasang Pambansa. Mas kuan na gino ni mas privilege na hinuon ka kaysa una tako na kay nga garbo nimo kung maimbitahan ka sud sa mao nga Batasang Pambansa. Karon mas kuana mas bugat na ang responsibilidad og mas pili pa. Kung sa una pinili na to karon mas pili ang gipasodron sa batasang pambansa. Na nato makita ang pipila ka mga cabinet secretaries wa lang tanahibaw unsa ni ilahang seating arrangement kining uban kongresista, mga representante sa nagkalain-laing distrito sa Pilipinas. Mugrita sa mga live viewers Alan Cataylo, Zaldi Tunyakaw, Ekim Ogeli, Vicky Borge, Epifania Palingkod. Sa makausab live ta karon mga kasibya sa SibyaTV, YouTube and Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn ug sa uban pang pagsibya nato sa SibyaTV sa atong special coverage sa katapusan na sona ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Atong nadunggan ang instrumental nga awit, no? What a Wonderful World. Nga walang tanihibaw sa ni nga orchestra mga kasibya ang ning tukar sa mao nga awit. So special gid ni ang mao nga sona murag wa man say live orchestra last year, no? Wala sa to kay kanto kanang height sa pandemic wa gitoy sure last year, di ba, kung madayon ang sona, pero gidayon og giligsan o dili pisikal giligsan ang pipila ka mga protocols ug sa mga tradisyon nga naandan sa sona. Pero karon atong nakita nga murag ila manggibalik ang kining uban nga mga protocols sa sona mga kasibya. Martin Andanar, Secretary Martin Andanar nagtan-aw ron. Oy, hello Secretary Martin, hello. Wa pa gid kagawa si Presidente Duterte sa mao nga kwarto ning gawas sa to yung mga kapulong kaganina nga silang Senador Tito Soto ug si Congressman or Representative or House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco. Okay? So karon nag himo og photo op kinsa man si Ma'am Hanilet Abansenia ba ni ang nikuyog ni Presidente Duterte. Nag-photo op na ron ang maong presidente sa kwarto kundi niya napulong ang duha ka leader sa Kongreso mga kasibya. Sa inyong mga comment, unsa inyong gusto madunggan? Uy, kuan sila kanang aid and ammo. Loyal kayo, bahala na mo Senate President o House Speaker, basta bunggo na ay picture. Mani klaro nga right hand kay naagid sa tuo ni Presidente Duterte, right hand yun. Di naman na sikreto ron, di naman na sikreto tibok nason mga kasibya unsa kasuod si Presidente Duterte o si Senador Bongo. Ni ato makita ron, I think iyan in common law wife, no, nga si Hanilet Abansenia. Oy, may nga hapon Engineer Peter Martin Alfafara. May hapon dia, sir. Malingaw kag tan-aw ni Presidente, sir. Okay. Amot malingaw ba ni Peter Martin Alfafara sa iyang makita karong hapon? sa katapusang SONA, mga kasibya. Okay? So karon ibalik og sulob ang mask ni Presidente Duterte. So ato sang paminawon usa sa ako ang giatangan ang iyang statement or iyang komento sa West Philippine Sea, ang iyang plano sa umaabot nga mga buwan nga nagatubang pata sa pandemya sa COVID-19. Ingon man ang iyang mga katapusan nga mga plano sa build projects kay mo na ang iyang gibida sa nilabay nga mga SONA di lang kay last year. O karon atong makita Presidente Rodrigo Duterte naglakaw na, nag-ilis og barong, nadunggan siguro kung Presidente Duterte mga kasibya nga nganong ga-office barong si Presidente Duterte og wala ga barong Tagalog. O karon nag-ilis og barong Tagalog si Presidente Rodrigo Duterte kung atong basihan ang atong nakita kaganina sa iyang pag-abot og pagnaog sa chopper mga kasibya. Karon ang ato ang oras alas 4:04 na ning adlaw nga Lunes ang SONA mga kasibya. Lunes gina siya kay sa konstitusyon, no, ari gina sa ikaupat o sa patakang balaod ari gina sa ikaupat nga Lunes sa buwan sa Hulyo. So karon ato na nadunggan ang kining instrumental kung kanina What a Wonderful World to, karon ang kining awit ni Freddy Aguilar nga mo say nahimo nga campaign jingle ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Ibig mo ipaglalaban hanggang sa Duterte. Ay, atong ang buthaw busod ba sa Presidente Duterte rong hapon o karon na si Presidente Duterte ug si Senador Bongo ning agi sa labi sa batasang pambansa para magtan-aw sa mga pipila ka mga na-display sa usa ka simple nga exhibit, no, nga naa sa gawas sa session hall sa batasang pambansa. Ang atong live feed gihatod nato sa RTVM ning adlaw nga Lunes, Hulyo 26, 2021, katapusan na SONA ni Presidente Rodrigo Duterte. Salamat sa inyong pakiguban nato ning adlaw nga Lunes mga kasibya. Salamat sa pagpili sa SibyaTV nga mo inyong nahimong channel sa pagtan-aw ron sa katapus SONA. Mura silang nag-tour sa kining batasang pambansa. Pagpili sa uban nga mga SONA nga atong nakita sa nilabay nga mga SONA. Medyo layo-layo gid mga kasibya ang katong kwarto kundi nasa nakigpong si Presidente Duterte sa duha ka leader sa Kongreso padung sa session hall sa batasang pambansa. Kay medyo taas-taas ang ilahang gilakaw, no, gikan sa maong kwarto. Mubo ra na lang gilakaw gikan sa helipad, no, padung sa katong lawak mga kasibya. O karon,
ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
o karon mga kasibya, ning sulod na si Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa session hall sa batasang pambansa o nagbarog ang pipila ka mga kongresista, ilang mga asawa, mga bana, mga sekretary, no, sa pagsud ni Presidente Rodrigo Duterte. O karon ning paso na siya sa tunga pas kay bulakaw si Presidente Duterte mga kasibya padulong sa rostrum o padung sa taas no sugato ni House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco o ni Senate President Vicente Soto Tito III. O karon ato nang paminawon ang seremonya sa katapusang State of the Nation address ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
On the part of the Senate, joint session is called to order.
On the part of the House of Representatives, the joint session is hereby called to order. Please rise for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, be led by Ms. Morissette Amon and accompanied by the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra.
Magiliw, peras ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa bibig mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisihin. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bungka, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidingding, ang bituin at araw niya kailan may di magdidihin. Lupa ng araw ng walhating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na magnay ng api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for the nation's prayer.
Ama naming makapangyarihan sa lahat, narito po kami upang magpasalamat sa lahat ng biyayang binibigay mo po sa aming mayaman na kalikasan, mga kakayahan at tibay ng loob. Maraming salamat po.
Basbasan mo po at gabayan ang aming mahal na inang bayan at ang aming mga leader na pangalagaan ang aming kinabukasan bilang susunod na henerasyon ng aming mahal na Pilipinas.
Gabayan mo po kami sa harap ng pandemya at protektahan mo po kami. Ipakita mo po sa amin ang tamang daan upang malagpasan namin ito at lahat ng mga darating pang sakuna, kalamidad o anumang hamon. Lahat ng ito ay tinatanggap namin bilang pagsubok lamang upang lalo kaming sumampalataya sa iyo. Naway matamo namin ang ganap na pagkakaisa bilang isang bayan. Turuan mo po kaming maging mapagkumbaba at laging unahin ang aming kapwa bago ang aming mga sarili, lalo na ang mga kapuspalad, mga dumaraing at ang mga nais na marinig. Pati na rin ang mga kababayan naming naghahatid ng mahalagang serbisyo sa kapwa, maging dito sa Pilipinas o sa ibang bansa.
Patatagin mo po sana kami bilang tao at bilang isang bayan na laging nananalig at naniniwalang hindi mo po kami pababayaan kailanman.
Salamat Panginoon sa lahat ng iyong blessing sa amin. Ito po ang aming dasal. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of Congress, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Kindly sit down. By far, this is the most beautiful SONA crowd that ever happened here. So many so many beautiful faces, and you only have to guess when you see the full face of the person. Senate President Vicente Soto III and the honorable members of the Senate, House Speaker Lord Alan J. Velasco, and the honorable members of the House of Representatives, Vice President Maria Leonor Robredo, former Presidents Fidel V. Ramos, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Joseph Ejercito Estrada, the Chief Justice Alexander Gismondo, and the Justices of the Supreme Court, Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdia, and the members of the Cabinet, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Archbishop Charles John Brown, and the distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps. My fellow government workers, and of course, to my lovely wife, Hanilet, mga mahal kong kababayan, when I assumed the presidency 5 years ago, dominant in my mind were the dreams and visions of a better life for all Filipinos. I saw them as reachable through the institution of reforms and radical changes in both in the structure of government and the mode of governance. Changes designed responsibility, accountability, and all in consonance with the truth that the public office is a public trust. When I ran for the presidency, I just made fundamental processes, and strangely, you can count them by the fingers of your hand. I made those changes which I thought that was really, there was time and doable. To offer free education, it's there already. The universal health care, nandiyan na po. The fight against illegal drugs, criminality, and corruption, and the development structure, including free irrigation and other big-ticket projects, which I thought I did not have the funds to do it. But perchance, among others, they were done in my term. Today, as I approach my term, my end of my term, I have less visions, but more remembrances. But mine is not to review or to second guess what might have been, but to bear and respond with the urgency of the unforeseen events as they unfold. Even before I took the oath of office, and everyone else, I suppose, knew the gravity of the enormity of the problems that the country was facing. And precisely because of that awareness, I was driven to hasten implementation of changes which I believe the country needed, keeping in mind that the Constitution afforded me only 6 years to make those changes happen. Making a difference within the constitutional time frame is what I was up against. But no one gets by legally without warming to the needle's eye of the constitutional imperatives. That is why I cajoled, I shewed, I pushed, and I tangled with men of wealth and influence who were oblivious to the angst and pleas of the weak and impoverished. And for that, I was pilloried to no end. But I did not succumb to the attacks, and neither did I allow criticisms, however intense, dampen my determination and initiatives, because my purpose was pure and unpolluted. While we were busy instituting reforms, the twin augurs of illegal drugs and corruption laid low for a while, only to resurface as still with us. And make no mistake about it, corruption is but another term of stealing people's money, dashing in its wake a nation's goals and aspirations. Due to the brilliant programs and excellent work of our economic managers and the extraordinary cooperation between the executive and legislative branches of government, our economy, with investor confidence, was poised to leapfrog from the company into the company of the world's fastest growing economies until COVID-19 pandemic stalled everything. Be that as it may, allow me this opportunity to extend my personal and the nation's gratitude to all those who selflessly gave their all in the fight against COVID-19, our health workers and other frontliners who risk their own safety. To keep our essential health services and our food supply chain running, boosting the economy activity and ensure peace and order in our communities. I would like also to extend my deepest appreciation for the generosity of the private sector who came to the government's aid in fighting COVID-19. I am profoundly thankful for your sustained assistance to fellow Filipino. And amidst the same deleterious effect of the pandemic to our respective industries, let me assure you that the government is committed to assess the private sector to regain the commercial vibrance of the country prior to the pandemic. To our local executives, this pandemic pushed you to step up and deliver responsive assistance. I'm glad to have seen you undertake new and heightened responsibility, working doubly hard to protect your constituents. To the international development partners who extended a helping hand amidst the global health emergency, the Philippines remembers your kindness and goodwill with sincere gratitude. And to all of you who answered the call to protect one another by adhering to our nation's protocols, daghang salamat. But then, let me ask, perhaps you and to myself, what exactly is the state of the nation today? In the light of the pandemic which has paralyzed business activities and crippled even the strongest world's economies. So, where do we go from here? Looking back to our accomplishments. In my first SONA, I laid down with utmost commitment and resolve the overall direction of my presidency. A comfortable life for all Filipinos, anchored on a people-centered approach to development and governance. If I remember correctly, my administration, I said, will implement a human approach to development governance in our people's welfare in the areas of health, free education, adequate food and housing, environmental preservation, and respect for the culture. I bore no illusions that steering a nation towards a comfortable life for every Filipino would be easy. Indeed, the past 5 years have truly been challenging and humbling. I stand here before you today bearing no conceit, but if there is one thing that I could be proud of, is that not once did I waver in doing the unpopular, even if it meant upholding the greatest good for the greatest number. Before I took office, our country was beset with communist insurgency scattered across the nation. A separatist movement that sought to divide us on the basis of religion and religion's deficiencies, and the proliferation of illegal drugs and criminality. Our armed forces were ill-equipped to deal with internal and external threats, while the police force had been overwhelmed by criminality and the drug trade problem. This is why I made it a priority to strengthen the institution, boost the morale of the men and women of the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police and other armed services. Again, I thank Congress for working with the Executive Department in enhancing capabilities of the AFP and PNP through our modernization program. In 2018, we raised the salaries of our military and uniformed policemen and personnel to a level commensurate to the critical role they play in upholding national security and maintaining order. I am asking Congress to pass a unified system of separation, retirement, and pension of military and uniformed personnel to maintain government fiscal flexibility and provide adequate benefits and remuneration to our men and women in uniform. This shall apply only to the new entrants of the military and civil. Hindi ho lahat. Cannot be that we have to pay so many, even the salaries of the retired. They get a chunk of the big budget. And if we include the new entrants, the funds available for them would not be enough. It is also high time for us to pass a law providing free legal assistance to AFP and PNP officers, enlisted personnel. To help them from charges arising from incidents related to the performance of official duty. The continuous upgrading of our defense capability shall ensure that we shall uphold our territorial integrity and sovereignty from external and security threats. Among the new additions, we welcome the country's 2 missile-capable warships to enable us to protect our seas by providing them with necessary equipment, by enhancing their professional capabilities, and looking after the families of the soldiers who would not be longer be in their company. We do not only strengthen our military and police institution, we also inspire them to serve this nation with the highest degree of loyalty and patriotism. We enable them to carry out their mandate to defeat all enemies of the state, whatever the cost. Indeed, I am proud of the accomplishments of our troops in securing our nation against all threats to our democratic institution. But peace must be realized Peace and security is not only just a military concern. That is why we deviated from the traditional purely military approach in dealing with matters of national security. With the creation of the National Task Force to End Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC, we have made great strides in addressing the root causes of this conflict by empowering our kababayans who have been used by the communists for many decades. In our continuing effort to build state of safe and conflict-resilient barangays, we have worked towards the sustainable rehabilitation and development of communities where the communists used to operate. Through the NTF-LCAC, we invested in farm-to-market roads, school buildings, water and sanitation, health stations, and livelihood. Alam mo, kasali na tayo dito lahat. Always, every law or every regulation must pass Congress, of course, to the President. But sometimes, you know, in our, in the performance of our duties, we encounter the not so nice of confronting each other. But because of these interventions, more than 17 former communist rebels have surrendered to government. They have returned to the folds of the law and are happily reintegrating programs or the local eclipse. It's either I am talking too fast or too slow, or the operator of this thing here is drowsy. Maybe because I had so many ad-libs along the way. Marami akong akin lang. Kaya yung nahinto ako when I stop and I'm process something in the gray matter between my ears. Hindi humahabol o hindi alam ng operator. Hindi bale, ma'am. Mahal pa rin kita. Lalaki ba ito o yung mga babae? Kagabi yung mga babae, sila? Sabihin mo sa kanila, magipagkita ako maya. I will embrace them for their punctuality in operating this, this strange machine that gives you the speech. With the support of our local government units, I am confident that support for the communist movement will continue to erode in the next few months. Unlike the decades-old Moro rebellion in Mindanao, we also bring an end to the armed struggle of the communists once and for all. Sa totoo lang, itong komunista, college pa ako. Hanggang ngayon, ang mga sige pa rin. So, speech mo lang ito, kunwari lang, pero ang totoo, there's a lot of fighting going on in the countryside. But I'd like to credit the police and the military for destroying so many communist fronts. I think they have destroyed more than 15 apparatus or the fronts of the Communist Party of the Philippines. Alam mo, mag-istorya muna tayo sa taxation. I'd like to be frank with you. Everybody in this country are paying taxes to the communists. The Communist Party earns billions, but pass on a little to their fighting men who die for an ideology that is so rotten and corrupt. They themselves are pocketing the money, and their children are studying in Europe and in other places, which I think none of you here can finance such journey. Yan ang masakit dito. They collect taxes, support season in Netherlands, and they do nothing but bad-mouth government and mouth war, dogmas, and everything. Hindi na sila napagod. It's about 53 years in the making. And until today, the poor people are dying. The cadres, and most of them belonging to the indigenous tribes of our country, are fighting a losing battle between the communists and the government. They waste lives, they enlist children, and they are proud of it, but they deny it. But when you go to the mountains, such as I and Senator go many times, even during the elections, they were there with so many arms that I think somebody, an idiot here in the Philippines, supplied the firearms. I'd like to ask Congress, especially Senator Bato, kindly dig on, because we have identified the person who imported the AK-47 into this country on the pretext of using it in the security, providing security and guards in business establishments and for those who can afford their home. This policeman, I think, is still there. He was a colonel, and she is still, walang nangyari. At maraming sundalong namatay dahil sa mga armas na pinasok nila dito sa Pilipinas. So that my orders to you, if you see them walking around, kindly shoot them dead. I would be happy. Anyway, you're already charged in the ICC together with me. So what is the problem of adding another one another idiot Filipino who has caused great damage to our country. Yan ho ang totoo dyan. At itong mga pulis, but let me go back in time. When I first said I will fight drugs in 6 months, I thought it was like in Davao. You can either coerce, intimidate, or bribe them. Or give them money. I said, lumabas kayo ng Davao, doon kayo magkalat sa Luzon at sa ibang lugar. Huwag dito sa Davao. Naniniwala naman ang mga ulol at we were able to attain a sense of normalcy in the city. Yun ho ang totoo. There are people charged with corruption and even going to prison for just maybe not telling the truth in their assets and liabilities. Nakukulong. Itong mga police were doing their thing, their drugs. They were the manufacturers and they were the distributor of drugs. When I became president, I asked De La Rosa, he was the chief of police of my city. I promoted him direct to being PNP chief. 4-star na kaagad automatic. But I told him and the others, look for the enemies. Look for where they are. And if you find them, destroy the apparatus. Destroy all, from the manufacturers to the peddlers. Because we are fighting a drug war that was being participated in the business by 9 generals of the PNP. Kaya yan ang sakit sa loob ko. I did not know that I was fighting my own government. Customs and everyone else were facilitating the importation of drugs. And one importation, as you can see it every night on TV, the police now sees about almost $1 billion worth of drugs every day. And if you look at the 888, there are about 1,000 Filipinos arrested every day by the police in connection with drug trafficking. And that is why I go crazy looking at the situation. They are still around. We do not have the laboratories now because nawala na sila. At itong naiwan ngayon are doing the importation. The citizens of another country cook their shabu in their in their tugboat or something, and they threw out the product contained in the plastic bags and with an GPS attached to the contraband so that the importers here could find them easily. That is how we are fighting, almost losing a battle against drugs. And now, the Sinaloa gangsters of Mexico and the triad of Laos in that area. They are busy cooking, and we have the Filipinos here with nothing in their mind except to destroy a nation, distributes them. That is what I said. I've been asked the question, and several times I gave the answer. I am a Filipino, and I love my country. I do not want my country in disarray because of drugs. I do not want families break up and become dysfunctional. Yun ang masakit sa akin. If you want to destroy a family, look for a way of the member or a resident of that family home. Biglang mga droga. Pag nandyan na yung droga at they are hooked, and that is the end. Sometimes families are separated because of drugs, becomes dysfunctional, at yung mga masawa magpunta doon sa abroad, ika nga, to look for jobs. And you know, in the Middle East, I am not attributing it to any particular country, but there are tribes in the Middle East who are employing our Filipina citizens, and they are uniform. Everybody who comes here home asks them how many hours of sleep they have. They said it's only 3 to 4 hours. And the food is hagwas. And the sacrifice, because they send money to the families back home, and thinking all the time that the money was spent usefully, only to realize when she comes home that that family has already dispersed to nowhere. Bakit yan? Because itong mga durugista sa baba, itong peddlers, itong basurero, tawag, it's a street lingo. They look for families na may mga nanay, tatay nagtrabaho, ang tatay or nanay nagtatrabaho sa abroad. And to think na iniiwan nila ang mga anak nila kung saan-saan na lang to their neighbors at the tender age of 3 to 4, 5, it breaks your heart. Iiwan lang nila sa kapitbahay kung walang mga relatives. And then, when they come back 5 years, 4 years after, they now realize that their young sons and daughters have gone into prostitution because of drugs. And their boys or their the male are nowhere to be found and into the drug business also. Yun ang pinakamasakit. Masakit sa akin na ang Pilipina pumunta doon para magtrabaho because sexual abuse in some tribes in the Middle East have this notion that if you are a slave or you are a paid person working for them, sexual abuse becomes part of the territory. Kaya dyan ako pumuputok at nakakita ko yung mga pamilya na sira. and to think that they labored without sleep, eating, I said, garbage, and not being allowed to go to their own church to pray, well, that is prohibited by them. And we have been, just because of their money that they get, we just look the other way around, but still being, bothered every night, and what will happen to the next succeeding group of. That is why I have in this speech, I talk about slavery. Pero yan, magprangka ako, I will never deny, and the ICC can record it. Those who destroy my country, I will kill you. And those who destroy the young people of our country, I will kill you. Talagang ngayariin kita because I love my country. You can do it the legal way, but it would take you months and years. And you know what? The statistics I just learned the other night, that plenty of those who are in the middle class have been released from prison despite the fact that they are charged of trafficking, which is non-bailable, and most of them are out. Babae pati lalaki ang kaso. And that is why I said, I toyed with the idea. I said, if there is still space, with due respect to the Senate President, he is a good man. He can become a good Vice President. He is holy. Ngayon, hindi na siya nahuhuli. Noon, huling-huli siya. But with due respect to Senator Soto, who's also running for the Vice Presidency, he is a capable man, a good man, and a Filipino. Sige ako tingin sa harap na dito para sa likod ko. You know, you are old. I've been in politics, mayor for 23 years. 5 years as a congressman dito. I work here. And 4 years working as vice mayor for my daughter, Sarah. And the presidency. I have been in politics almost 23 plus 4 plus 4. Almost 40. Kaya hindi ko na malaman ang seat arrangement dito. Hindi ko alam na noon pa ang mga Senate President pati. Butit na lang hindi ko sinali si Velasco. Baka hindi na ako makabalik doon maya. Dibale, diretso na ako uwi. I have said many times before, the bloodshed caused by the separatist movement in Mindanao is all about correcting the historical injustice suffered by the Moro people. Since the period of colonialization, with the help of Congress, we were able to pass the organic law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Finally fulfilling a promise that was decades in the making. Our victory in Marawi is also a testament to how the Filipinos' patriotism is far stronger than any extremist group. As I have said before many times, there is no room for lawlessness in this country. Rebuilding a better Marawi remains today still not completed. To Task Force Bangon Marawi, we need to race against time, and you have to finish the necessary work for to rehabilitate the war-torn city and bring back its families back home. But let me talk again about the drugs. I was just ahead. Ganon yan. Pero dito wala. I'm not making any success. I'm just saying the truth. What for the daily commuters to endure in the past? Now, MRT3 no longer unloads passengers but to their destinations. The waiting time between trains had been significantly reduced to 10 trains running at only 30 kilometers per hour before. Now MRT runs 23 trains at 60 kilometers per hour. We have taken away the misery of public commuting. We also pursue the completion of the LRT to East Extension Project by extending Line 2 and adding 2 more stations. We have reduced travel time between Manila and Antipolo from the usual 2 to 3 hours to only just 40 minutes. Thanks to our partnership with the private sector, we are able to open Stage 3 of the Metro Manila Skyway in January this year. This decongested EDSA and other major roads in Metro Manila. On Independence Day last month, we also inaugurated the Kalayaan Bridge, part of the BGC Ortigas Center Link project, which will reduce the usual 1-hour travel time between the two business districts in just 12 minutes. Beyond Metro Manila, we are pursuing several high-impact projects that will be completed within my term and perhaps in the following years. It's a question of money. Just this July, we inspected the newly built passenger terminal building of the Clark International Airport. The new and modern passenger terminal is equipped with the latest state-of-art technology. This can accommodate 8 million passengers, alleviate air traffic congestion at the Naya Airport, as well as serve a major growth driver and gateway to northern and central Luzon. Madali man na magpakpak, ang basa ang mahirap. To help promote equitable development, we also completed several roads leading to important trade corridors. Last year, we completed the construction of the Poro Point Free Port Zone Road in La Union, which improved nakita na ninyo yan? Wala. Sige lang pakpak. You don't even have a picture of what I'm talking about, I'm sure. To improve access to prime spots for investment tourism in the Poro Point area. We also completed the junction Lanao-Pagadian-Zamboanga City Road, which will provide easier access to farms and easily transport their agricultural products at low cost and in great quantities to industries in economic zones located in Diplahan, Zamboanga, Sibugay. The Sorsogon City in Bicol, inuna namin yan kasi mahal ko ang mga Bicolano. Pangangatawan ninyo yung pakpak ninyo ha. Baka the Sorsogon City Coastal Pass-by Road is targeted completion by the end of 2021, while the Davao City Coastal Road will be completed by 2023. Bakit? Why? Why is the Baolas?